What's going on, everybody? So I kind of want to come back today and talk about StoryFire, which is a platform that I actually have hyped up in the past because back in like June or July of 2020, this smaller alternative to YouTube actually created by a YouTuber began to sort of take off. It got a lot of push from creators on YouTube. People like Keemstar, Leafy ended up joining it. And it seems like a lot of massive creators actually ended up kind of going to StoryFire and using the platform for a while, and it still actually has a somewhat active community, but unfortunately the platform will be shutting down. The news came out on January 24th, which was yesterday, and this is when we learned that StoryFire is yet another one of these websites that was unable to compete with YouTube. So I just kind of want to talk about the situation, talk about realistically the impact that StoryFire made. Because when you think about it with like alt tech and everything, there have been so many websites that have come up and tried to compete with YouTube and do all these kinds of crazy things that in all reality just simply aren't possible. I first want to kind of explain why it's not possible because like I said, I was really on board with StoryFire, but I think that, well, realistically, the death of StoryFire here kind of shows something major. In order to successfully run a platform in this type, right, in this field or this category, to run a video sharing website to the public it's going to take a lot of money, okay? I would also say manpower, but StoryFire actually had an established staff behind it that worked on it full time. So with that, I really think it comes down to a money problem. When you look at YouTube and you realize that it's owned by Google, which is one of the most secure, largest, and established companies on the planet, you come to realize that it doesn't actually matter if YouTube loses money, right? YouTube doesn't have to be profitable because what it is as a service itself is so valuable that a company like Google, which makes money, can hold it at a loss, okay? Because it is the second biggest website on the planet. But StoryFire didn't have a major established company behind it. It was essentially a startup that realistically lasted very long for, I guess, a website like this with how it was going. So they just simply didn't have the money, and it's what it really breaks down to even here through the tweets which we're about to read. It is with a heavy heart that I must announce StoryFire has been unable to secure financing. After struggling for many years to financially bootstrap the platform myself, I can no longer sustain it. As of February 1st, 2021, the StoryFire platform will be shutting down. This was one of the hardest decisions of my life. So much passion, time, and resources poured into this ambitious idea. To see it close down is genuinely heartbreaking. I genuinely gave it my all and really pushed to keep it alive, but unfortunately it was not in the cards. I'm incredibly proud of what @BrianSpitz and I have accomplished with StoryFire and this entire community of users and creators. We really have such a passionate community around the fire. That's one of the hardest things to come to grips with, letting you guys down. For the final week, you're able to download any of your videos uploaded to the platform. We will expose the video links so you can download. Also, on the StoryFire website, you can export all of your written stories, details to follow if you cannot find. We really wanted to succeed. We still have the vision of a collaborative, creative community all centered around our Blaze currency, a platform governed by the creators and the power users where artists can share and create together. No monopolies, censorship, or demonetization. It really feels like we were just getting started, but without the proper funding, there's no other options. Thank you guys truly for all your support from the developers, the StoryFire team, our advisors, users, and creators. This was all possible because of you. It's been an incredible journey, truly. I've learned so much through this process and will carry these lessons through to future endeavors. I will never forget what we built and what we stood for. After so many pain points with YouTube, we really tried to be a solution. We took an extremely difficult road to try and remedy a big problem that I know affected a lot of creators, myself included. Thank you for believing in us and giving us a chance. I'll always try to support struggling creators no matter what. In the meantime, I'll see you guys on StoryFire for one final week. It's going to be sad, but we'll get through this together as a community. Really hard to put all this into words, but seriously, thank you for everything and never stop creating. Stay lit. Alright, so the thing is, when you look at all this, right, like, it's obvious that YouTube has what we can realistically kind of call a monopoly over video sharing. I mean, you can say, oh, Amazon has Twitch, but it's not the same thing. They're not in the same they're not really on the same side of the spectrum, if we keep it a $1.50 here, because you got YouTube over here, which is really dedicated mostly to video sharing, viral content, things like that, right, homegrown content, but Twitch is more of a live streaming platform. So I really don't think it's the same comparison, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, it just sucks to see one of these websites that have tried to legitimately fix a problem kind of go down like this, right? Because, I mean, as someone who used StoryFire a considerable amount, right, compared to at least the average person, some people obviously only got on like once or twice or whatever, but like, you know, I uploaded some content there, I wrote some short stories. I've stayed semi-active posting, you know, a little bit on like the social feed or whatever, but StoryFire was legitimately a good platform. I mean, the video uploading, while it was really only given to trusted people, I eventually did get on board and I did get video privileges. Uploading videos was quite, you know, issueless. I mean, when you look at a lot of websites, I think that's a big problem, you know. It's too tedious to get through, and they make it so hard to actually do things on the website that you would just be easy to do on something like YouTube. But StoryFire really was different. I mean, it genuinely was also, I would say, a Twitter alternative, because the social feed was essentially Twitter without the bullshit. You know, it wasn't garbage like Twitter is now. And we've gotten to this point, man, where it's sad to see stuff like this happen. I'm not gonna lie, I stopped using the platform for a long time. I haven't uploaded content there in months, but I think a lot of that came down to the fact that, you know, like I said, it had that huge push over the summer that really brought me in, and it looks like that was kind of like their final stand attempt to really kickstart stuff, and it was semi-successful. I mean, like I said, I was on the platform, a lot of people were there. I got like 65,000 subscribers on this website. I would love to hit 100,000 before the platform shuts down just to know that I did it, because that was a goal that I was revisiting. Like, I was like, man, on StoryFire, I want to actually hit 100K this year. I want to be, you know, back up there with like the most established creators, because I'm actually one of the biggest creators on the platform. And it kind of sucks that I probably won't be able to fulfill that wish, because, I mean, we only have, what, like 7 days? There's no chance. And, you know, when it comes down to it, man, like, you look at the things that are wrong with YouTube, StoryFire actually did provide solutions to that. I mean, there was never any adpocalypses or any issues like that on the platform. Granted, it's small, you know, it's definitely no YouTube, but they found a lot of solutions for issues that companies owned by Google couldn't find out. And I think that that's still valuable going forward, because when you look at the experiment of StoryFire, right, they legitimately did a lot of good work. They actually provided, I would say, a valuable service. It was easily the best YouTube alternative. And had it just gotten the push that it needed over time, you know, once again, if they could have secured funding and actually properly advertised and got their platform out there more, this platform had a chance. You know, this platform actually had a product. I really would be able to see companies wanting to buy into StoryFire had it just had more push. And it's really nobody's fault. You know, it's not Keemstar's fault or McJuggernuggets' fault. Sometimes it's just hard. You know, you can't get through. You can't break some of these barriers. Like I said, YouTube has established itself to such a point. Like, it got to a point where uploading videos on the internet and the word YouTube were like synonymous with one another. It would be like trying to come up with the next big server and browser engine and everything else that Google does. Like, it's pretty much, it seems impossible for small competitors to come into this kind of space. And I think a big thing that we really learned, once again, with StoryFire and the situation that's unfolded is, unless Amazon steps in or Facebook steps in, one of these massive tech companies, unless one of them steps in and creates a legitimate true-to-form competitor to YouTube, we're stuck with this bullshit. I mean, we complain about everything that happens on YouTube, right? You know, all the demonetization, the copyright problems, all the issues that we face as YouTubers. They, of course, weren't really issues on StoryFire, but we're now stuck with those problems. I mean, let's keep it $1.50. There is no alt tech that was in a position that StoryFire was in. There's none of these alt tech websites that are going to compete with YouTube. A lot of them, if we're keeping it honest, have been created or are heavily populated mostly by people who are on the right wing of the political spectrum here in the United States, because, you know, they're getting censored and whatnot on Twitter, they claim. So we've gotten to this point where, like, alt tech is either like a conservative field to run in, or it's an unsustainable business model, or it's simply just an effort that can't work fundamentally. I guess as it stands, we've just seen yet another example of how stuck we are to YouTube. And that kind of sucks, because I know firsthand that if there was a legitimate competitor to YouTube, that I would be on board. I would be there. I don't think I'll ever stop uploading to YouTube, but I would love to see some actual competition to force YouTube to be good. And I thought, honestly, that StoryFire might have been the one, man, but an unfortunate situation, and I wish the best of luck to everybody involved over at StoryFire, man, because I know this has to be heartbreaking. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus, follow me also on Instagram and TikTok at ReallyOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. New merchandise is available, 10% off automatically all the way through the rest of January. Thank you to my channel members, and until next time, guys, this is Optimus saying rest in peace to StoryFire, and signing out. You've seen cool stuff in your life before, but you've never seen cool shit like this. Introducing Horser. Are we sure what it is? Not really, but is it interesting? Absolutely. Optimus, what do all these luxury cars and videos of horses and nature have to do with Horser? They're specially crafted in that order to make you want to buy shit. To make you think to yourself, oh, this Horser brand represents luxury and wealth and nature, and I need that. So fulfill the advertisement's role and go buy it. Horser, keep it on you, or some shit like that.